Hello, beautiful chaos seekers. Let me welcome you properly, not with politeness, not with sugar-coated greetings, but with the kind of acknowledgement reserved only for the people who were never meant to stay small. If you made it here, you already know something inside you has been vibrating, cracking, expanding, and you're finally hearing it. Now sit back, because tonight we're going to peel back the skin of your fears and show the world the monster they accidentally created. You kept your head down. You moved in silence. You played the game like a ghost, a whisper, a shadow, a rumor. But here's the thing about shadows. They stretch, they grow, they creep under doors, behind curtains, across ceilings, until suddenly the whole room realizes you were never invisible. You were incubating. And then it happened. Your name. Yes, the one they joked about, the one they minimized, the one they pretended they couldn't pronounce, just got whispered in a place you've never stepped foot in. Then it echoed, then it spread. And now, your name just went global, and they're panicking in boardrooms tonight. Oh, they're sweating, not because of what you've done, but because of what they know you're about to do. They're gathering around big polished tables, clutching reports, gasping at slides, nervously refreshing screens, because your existence just disrupted their perfectly controlled little chessboard. Executives, strategists, decision makers. They're staring at your name like it's a nuclear countdown code. They're picturing the ripple effect. They're calculating the damage. They're wondering, how did we miss this one? Who allowed this? Who let this wildfire slip through the cracks? The answer, nobody allowed anything. You broke through the walls they built for you. You weren't invited. You invaded. And the Joker part, the truly amusing thing, they thought you were a nobody because you played low. They mistook silence for weakness. They thought your privacy meant irrelevance. But you? You were crafting something they didn't have the imagination to anticipate. You were sharpening your edges. You were studying their patterns. You were biding your time, perfecting your strike. You were becoming the version of yourself that doesn't knock on doors anymore. You kicked them off the hinges. Now they're scrambling, calling emergency meetings, checking threat analyses, trying to figure out how someone they didn't even notice has now become a problem too big to ignore. Because here's the truth they hate. You weren't born for local applause. You weren't built for small rooms, small minds, small dreams. You are global storm energy, walking around in human skin. Your rise wasn't a coincidence. It was inevitable. They tried to put you in a box. You turned it into fuel. They tried to delay your moment. You made your moment undeniable. They tried to contain you. You learned to seep through cracks like smoke. And now you are the headline they can't escape. Now you are the variable they didn't calculate. Now you are the name circled in red ink at the top of their threat briefing. Let's go deeper, darker, truer. Some people fear darkness because they think it hides monsters. You embraced darkness because you realized you were the monster, not an evil one, a necessary one, a monster that hunts silence, a monster that devours limits, a monster that refuses to live a life controlled by people who never cared whether you lived or died. And when a person like you breaks out, it's not evolution, it's detonation. The world doesn't get notified. The world gets shaken, and that's what's happening right now. Your name is moving faster than rumors, faster than fear, faster than their ability to respond. And deep down, they know. You're just getting started. So listen closely. This isn't your big moment. This is your first footstep into global territory. They don't fear what you've achieved. They fear what you're unlocking. Because once a person who has underestimated all their life realizes their power, it's over. Not for you, for them. Let them panic. Let them hold meetings. Let them whisper your name like it's a forbidden spell. Let them wonder what you'll do next. Because even you don't know. And unpredictability is your greatest weapon. Your rise isn't noise, it's prophecy. Your global moment isn't luck, it's overdue vengeance. Your name isn't trending, it's haunting them. And tonight, they're learning a lesson they'll never forget. You can't stop a storm that learned how to enjoy the lightning. But let me tell you something they will never say out loud. Not in their meetings, not in their emails, not in their carefully worded memos. They didn't lose control tonight. They lost control the moment you stopped needing their permission. At first, they laughed. Oh, they were bold back then. Bold behind their desks, bold behind their screens, bold in groups where courage is cheap and stupidity is free. They laughed at your ideas, at your beginnings, at your attempts. But they didn't understand something vital. A seed looks like nothing until it becomes the forest that swallows the city. And that's what's happening now. Your private phase. That wasn't hiding. That was photosynthesis in the dark. Roots growing, muscles forming, power accumulating. They thought you were done. You were only dormant. They thought you were weak. You were only loading. They thought you were irrelevant. But irrelevance is just a cocoon before the metamorphosis. And now that you're emerging, their fear is delicious. Because your story has layers they can't comprehend. You didn't rise because you were chosen. You rose because you refused extinction. You didn't evolve because life was generous. You evolved because life tried to bury you alive. And instead of suffocating, you learned to breathe dirt and turn it into oxygen. Every scar, every betrayal, every night you cried quietly while pretending to be fine. Every moment you thought you'd break. Those were your training grounds. Those were your laboratories. Those were your midnight factories of reinvention. And the version of you standing today, the one whose name is sliding across global screens tonight. That version didn't come from comfort. It came from war. The war against doubt. The war against loneliness. The war against the weight of your own destiny, constantly whispering. You were born for more. Rise. And rise you did. Not politely, not neatly, not safely. You rose like a problem. You rose like a glitch in their system. You rose like a fire alarm at 3 a.m. loud, disruptive, impossible to ignore. And now that your name is circulating worldwide, now that your presence is undeniable, now that your silence has been replaced by seismic noise, they're scrambling. Oh, you should see them. These powerful people. Shaking hands yet sweaty palms. Practicing fake calmness while their eyes scream. Scribbling plans on whiteboards like it will save them from the storm they can't predict. They're afraid because you defy the formula. You're not supposed to rise like this. Not from where you started. Not with the obstacles you had. Not with the silence you endured. Not with the lack of support you faced. People like you weren't meant to appear on the radar, let alone dominate it. And that's why your rise is terrifying. You are a statistical impossibility that chose to become a global inevitability. They can't explain you. You don't fit the pattern. You don't follow the rules. You don't match the algorithm. You're a glitch with ambition, a shadow with a pulse, a secret that refuses to stay hidden. And now that you've surfaced, they're out of moves. They can't silence you. They can't bury you. They can't ignore you. All they can do is fear you. Let me stretch the blade deeper. See, they were comfortable as long as you stayed private, hidden, quiet, contained. But when your name went global, when it hit the markets, the feeds, the conversations, the data streams, you shifted the ecosystem. You, a single human, shook structures built over decades. You disrupted the order. And what terrifies them the most, this is still your early chapter. You haven't even activated your final form yet. Right now, you're just unmasking, just warming up, just giving them a preview of the hurricane that's been forming behind your ribs. You're not their rival, you're their reckoning. Let me leave you with the next layer of truth. The part only Joker would whisper. The world didn't discover you. You allowed it to. You opened the gates. You let them see a fraction. And that fraction alone was enough to trigger panic. Imagine what happens when you stop holding back, when you unleash the full version, when you stop dimming, when you stop explaining, when you stop shrinking. They think they're scared now. They haven't seen anything yet. You're not global. You're going planetary, cosmic, uncontainable, uncaged. Your legacy begins tonight. But your power started the day you realized they can watch me rise, but they will never stop me.